If I took your clinic tomorrow and I gave you 10, 20,000 pounds to start everything from scratch, how long will it take you to build it back to where it is? For some of you guys, that might be a week, a month, a year. For some of you, it would never happen again. Why? Because you built it relying on pure force and luck. And successful practices, and whatever success means to you, they're never built on luck. They're built on predictability, they're built on models. There is no ceiling and everything is predictable. And in this video, I want to explain these three words, TSS. These are the only three words you need to know on exactly how to build any practice. Any practice. It's a framework and it relies on traffic, systems, and skills. And I'll explain each one of those and what that means. Towards the end, I want to give you one tool that we built for you guys that will help you to at least one of these words on the framework to help you actually map out that for your success. And if you are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Stefan. I'm from Practice Peak. I've got my own clinic here and we've built it to 15, 20 team members. It's amazing. We help a lot of people. We do 7 figures a year. We have done 100K plus per month for the last 14 months consecutively, depending on when you're watching this video and where you're tuning from. And now we consult for clinics out there to raise the bar, to raise the standard, because this is my mission now, is to really consolidate what we've tested, what we're building as we speak, and teach it as we're building it to the community. So selfishly, if you ever feel like you're stuck, reach out. My mission is literally to work with people and help them, because we have an incredible product. We have one of the best services out there, chiropractic and alternative healthcare medicine. And if we were to be more loud about it and more proud about it, and if we were actually to build that as a successful model for us, then the number of patients you will reach is hundreds of thousands. And let's talk about it, because literally there are three words. The first one is traffic. With traffic, I'm going to put a question mark, because a lot of people think traffic is leads, and maybe, but it depends what you're optimizing for, and it depends where you're starting your journey. So for example, if I was to start from scratch, I'm going to do one channel. I'll choose one type of traffic. If I'm starting from scratch, I'll build that one channel and I'll have one funnel or process. And we'll talk about this in a minute when it comes to systems. And then I would scale. So I will just choose one type of traffic, one service delivery method for chiropractic care. I will refine that model so well before I think about the third S. A lot of people say, what's more important? Is it systems or is it skills? I know the answer to that because we have all the data. Most people think, oh, I need the skills to build an incredible business. And that's the biggest challenge. You wear your hat as a clinician. You come out of university and you're ready to change the world, which is incredible. But if I chuck you in a terrible model, for example, someone told me this and they explained it in this way. Imagine you're a plumber and you're the best plumber in the world, but you have a terrible plumbing system. All the pipes are leaking and they're broken, they're bent, you don't have the right tools. It doesn't actually matter how incredible of a plumber you are. If I to start dripping that water through the pipe, through the funnel, the traffic, and the whole system and model are broken, it doesn't matter how amazing you are as a clinician. So this is how I frame it, this is how I want to think about it. This maybe how helps some of you guys. So traffic, what is the best traffic? How do we generate? For my practice alone, we have close to 100 new patients a month, every single month. But we didn't start from there. The first thing I'll probably do if I was to think of traffic is, what are the lowest hanging fruits in my community, in my practice? Well, the first, again, this is if you're starting from scratch, but the first thing I might do is I might start looking at some workshops. I definitely will give this 3-star. I might start doing some in-house screenings. Depending if you have the right systems and if you have the right protocols and follow-ups, I would definitely give this a 3-star. It's a very predictable way to get yourself 10 to 20 new patients event that you run, depending on how good you are. And inside our community, it's not magic. Everyone in the UK does it, but we teach it in a way that is like quite reproducible. I'll probably do external spinal screenings as well to start with. External screenings. This one I will give 5-star if you know what you're doing. We've done a lot of testing, and here we find that the local big events, doing them 5 to 10 times a year is much more worth it than doing just little, like going to a little gym or going to a little kind of supermarket. And you've got to test it, but the first year of practice, you definitely want to test this as much as you can, because what works for us here where we're based might not work for you if you're in London or in Scotland. But this is super important to understand your lowest hanging fruit. And once you have the traffic dialed in, and all you're looking for is 4 to 6 new patients, we look about 4 to 6 new patients per week in order for us to know that we have a scalable model so that when they do come in, I can implement my systems. Systems is the most, if not, it's probably the most important element of starting a practice. Another word for systems is, what's your practice model? Let me explain what I mean by that. So a practice model can be, especially for a service-based business, I know that you think you're special, and I say this with love, and I know that you think you're unique and you've built something different. But we're not that special, and it's actually very difficult to come up with a new concept, especially if chiropractic has been around for 100 years. Health has been around since the first human on planet Earth. So actually human health and human behavior are quite predictable. So what we try to do is we try to set up a model where it just works for 99.9% of people that come in. And that's the most important thing. And it does not matter who delivers the service, because they follow a model. They follow a system. Here, if you haven't watched these videos, go and watch them now. We have 2 archetypes that work really well. Are you setting up a practice to support your lifestyle? So lifestyle practice. This one essentially will rely on you having more flexibility, you having a ceiling in terms of like earning capabilities. It's very difficult to sell these because they typically just rely on you, but they're great cash flow practices. They give you more flexibility and time around your lifestyle, and like going surfing and going skateboarding and spending time with the kids, choosing your time off. There are challenges with either or, and this one is the Empire, which is what we're building, enterprise, because this is where you have, from day one, building it in a way that it's likely to sell. Membership models, again, with a whole YouTube, probably 1 hour videos based on that. Monthly recurring revenue, systemization. We have very predictable patient journeys. We have apps, we have software. So in terms of systems and the model, it's super important for you to know, what am I setting up? Am I setting up a lifestyle practice? Am I building an empire enterprise? Both are very different. In terms of a lifestyle practice, it gives you a lot more flexibility, it gives you, I would say, initially probably better cash flow, or at least you're keeping more of the revenue, but it definitely has a ceiling. So you just end up building a very well paid job for yourself that supports your lifestyle, which is fine. There's no right or wrong. These 2 archetypes we've identified are just, it is what it is. But it has a ceiling, and it's very not sellable. You very, very difficult to sell something that just relies on you. The Empire Enterprise option, which is what we're building, and again, it's not right, it's not wrong, it's just what we do, is relying on systems, on streamlining procedures, process, SOPs, building big teams, training them, having ongoing mentorship. We have softwares, apps building into the systems. So these monthly recurring revenue, membership models, again, lots of things we've talked about on this channel, but the whole point is your system has to be super strong for what you are building. And one of the biggest and most predictable systems that I've come up with and we've built and developed is and we're going to just assume that this is a journey, is the perfect patient journey. This is your whole business model. This can be day 0. What does your website look like? What does the branding feel like? What's your copy on the website looking like? What's your copy on advertising looking like? How mismatched they are? Is this congruent with how you actually practice and the experience the patient gets when they do arrive in your practice? This one thing here takes some of our clients that work with us 3 to 6 months to study it inside our community, to design their own, and we help them with that, and to, most importantly, implement it in their practice. When they do this, everything becomes more predictable. In fact, I can just sell this program for the amount of money we sell the coaching for and still get very similar results, because people take, like, this is the most important thing in your business model. And that's for the just systems. What happens on, let's say this is day 0, what happens on day 1, what happens on day 2? We have something that we call day 3 special appointment. What happens on the first progress review? Here we might have a re-exam, and then we go into maintenance or preventative care. But every single milestone here, every single milestone will have emails attached to them. We'll have SMS reminders, we'll have a CRM system, we'll have educational content that we give to patients. So we've built that in a very strategic, very a logical manner, so it builds up not just how many patients we get from the traffic source, but how predictable it is when the new patient comes in. They know what's happening, the clinicians know what's happening, and the business knows what's happening, and it's predictable. What would that mean for you guys, by the way? If tomorrow morning you wake up and you say, hey, I have 60 to 70K a month, every single month coming in as a monthly recurring revenue because we have these models in place. And even more importantly, the patients are happy, they refer, and we get good results. Now, this takes time. One of my mentors and someone that I highly admire, called Taki Moore, he has this saying, and he says, and I'll probably butcher it, but there's 3 types of work. You can have guesswork, and that's very annoying and slow. You can have hard work, and a lot of chiropractors, a lot of clinicians, a lot of clinic owners actually struggle with that because they think the harder I work, the bigger the reward. Not necessarily true nowadays. What's more important is what you work on, who you work with, rather than just how hard you work. So the whole concept of smart work is really important here. And the final one is framework. Why would I try to reinvent the wheel when I know something is highly effective and is proven to work, and it's a win-win-win, which is we have this framework where here you have team, they're winning, here you have patients, they're winning, here you have practice or business, and we also win. If one of those is skewed, the whole thing doesn't work. But with that said, if you get everything right, you can build your dream practice. So there will be somewhere in the comments, somewhere in the description, there will be a tool, because this is super difficult. So just use the framework that we have and put a sprinkle of personality, of your own personality. But what I would suggest is use that framework, and we have the link somewhere down, because it's a little AI tool. It's completely free to use, and it can help you build your patient journey for your practice, not for my practice, for your practice. And that patient journey this tool will probably save you weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of making mistakes, effort, energy, and result. Because then the next thing is our skills. And this is basically what happens when the patients come in, they've stepped a foot in your door. You've implemented the systems in the model. Now it's time to deliver them results. And this is where you have the clinicians using their brain, hopefully making decisions about clinically what's right for this patient, treating the patients hands-on or whatever modalities you guys use, and really leveling up the quality of care they receive. Because yes, you can market, but you can never outmarket a bad product. You can never outmarket a bad experience the patient had. And this typically comes under the patient journey. So marketing is actually quite easy to understand. Once you get it, we can pay an agency. Here we've built a whole training protocol on YouTube. We call it the how to document something, how to demonstrate it to a team member, how to duplicate it if you're looking to buy some of your time. And that's especially for those of you who are interested in building some empires that live beyond what you're looking to achieve. This one, I cannot teach you. I can't teach you skills. You've gone to university and college for a long time. I strongly recommend you guys working in frameworks. So a lot of clinics that we work with, they typically have 2 challenges. They don't know what the next step is, or they've been working for long enough and they don't have a clue what to do next, and it's getting close to retirement. And so at the beginning of the spectrum and at the end of the spectrum. And it's so interesting to see if this stuff existed during their development period when they were building the business, they will never have the problem of exiting, or they'll never have the problem of designing their dream practice that gives them income, that gives them impact, and it gives them independence. These are the 3 I's that I talk about. And if you want to actually understand how we put the whole plan together, there's a couple of options. One of them is you can go straight to Instagram and maybe message me let's use the word peak, so I know where you come from, and I can show exactly how we do that. But secondly, if you want to consume more of this content and you genuinely find it helpful, go and watch our dream practice roadmap video, which again, it should be somewhere in the link here. I'll get the team to put that for us. It shows you the whole journey, how we built the whole practice, and how you can choose the practice of your dreams. So that's it from me, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope that makes sense. Hope you actually find it valuable, and I really hope that you take action, because we're here to help clinics level up the profession, and help more patients. We're in the business of helping people help people. Bye for now.